Welcome, GeoGLAM colleagues. I'm pleased to kick off our 2020 XCOM meetings. It's been a challenging year for sure, but even with all the challenges, it has been a very successful year for GeoGLAM, and I think you'll see that through these presentations and these updates. Our reach and impact continues to grow. More and more, we are seen as the authoritative source for Earth observation-based agricultural monitoring information. We've made good progress on our priorities around essential variables, knowledge management, and capacity development, as well as other areas. Our interaction with the international community has grown, certainly at least in part due to my presence here in Geneva, working through GEO as well. And our efforts towards more quantitative metrics will really play well into these very major global policy drivers that all of our countries are engaged in, like the Sustainable Development Goals, climate change, and early warning for disaster response. So I wanted to quickly go over the agenda, and of course we're doing this meeting a fair bit different than meetings in the past, as all our meetings are these days, it seems. First of all, we're going to have 15-minute presentations for the GEOGLAM Secretariat, this presentation, as well as the working groups. Then we're providing for 7-minute presentations on contributing programs and projects. I'm not sure how well the response to this has been as I record this, but I'm sure you'll find many update presentations that you can view prior to the question and answer session on November 12th. And with respect to these question and answer sessions, these will be live sessions, but taking place in 2 time zones to make it easier for people in different parts of the world to participate. I would ask you, if you have questions, to submit them before November 11th to myself. And this is so I can broker the questions, get them out to the presenters, and get their answers either back to me to convey to you, or so that they're prepared during these live meetings on the 12th. And then, assuming there's still time left, we'll use the chat feature in the video app to allow people to put in additional questions as we go. In the agenda, you'll see links to the video calls, as well as, of course, the one you found to find us here on the YouTube channel. So this year we have new members, including Katarzyna Dabrowska-Zelinska from the Institute of Geodesy and Cartography in Poland. She is not new to our organization. Certainly, she's been involved in JCAM for a number of years. Earlier, I believe near the end of last year, she reached out to me and indicated a desire to become more involved in GeoGLAM. Consequently, her invitation to be with us here today during the XCOM. Also joining us is Adam Lewis from Digital Earth Africa. Now, Digital Earth Africa, as most of you probably know, is a continental-wide data cube being developed. It's very well funded, well organized, led by Australia. And Adam is leading that initiative. We've reached out to them in recent months to discuss their work on developing cropland masking and crop mapping for Africa. So we've provided some input as well down the road and into the future. I think we can help this initiative by working with them towards things like in situ data and so on, which we'll be discussing on the 20th. But also they're in a position to make a very great contribution to GeoGLAM as well. And then there's the Arab Organization for Agriculture Development. This is centered in Sudan, but covers many Arab states. This is an area of the globe that is underrepresented, so we're very excited that Nabil can join us and join our XCOM, find out how we can help support him and his work, but also how his work may, may be able to support us. Now this year, there's also been significant progress on priorities identified during the 2019 meetings in Louvain. And you'll see presentations on all these and discussions around all these. So this is certainly central is the definition of essential agricultural variables, It hasn't progressed as fast as we would wish this year, but that's very understandable given the pandemic conditions. But I am glad to say it has progressed. There's very broad engagement and enthusiasm to get this done. And this is going to be central to a lot of things we do in the future, I think, around knowledge management, capacity development, how we support these big policy drivers. So this is very good. As well, capacity development working group has proceeded well, but at a slower pace this year. They're developing a best practice guidance document on co-development, and that is moving forward, and we'll hear more about that in the update presentations. I'll be talking about knowledge management, and in particular, developing a GEOGLAM portal on the Geo Knowledge Hub on the 20th. But we've had a very successful year. UCL, working with myself and the Geo Secretariat, developed a Send-to-Agri Amazon Web Services easy-to-use click-and-go pilot. That was a pilot for the implementation plan. The implementation plan was approved by the Executive Committee of GEO and is now in the implementation phase. And over future months, I'll be working with them to develop that GeoGlam portal, which will allow us to capture much of the work that you people have been doing, organize it, and make it more available to our clients and interested parties. And finally, the federated ITC, there hasn't been much that's transpired in the way of developing the strategy, but there has been a heck of a lot of activity around developing platforms. This image is just from Europe, showing several of the platforms, but also off to the side are the private clouds. Microsoft, Amazon, Google in particular have provided access and service and support access to the GEO community through competitive calls. I hope some of you have taken advantage of that. I know some of you have. And as we go forward, I see the private sector continuing to play an important role in helping to support these types of developments. So in a sense, the federated ITC is evolving organically with all these initiatives that are going forward. Now, in terms of GEO, we have a new GEO director as of this week. It's been announced. She'll be starting in July of next year. Gilberto is still the director up till that time, but that new director is Yana Gregorian with NOAA. She's well known to several of you, certainly well known to me in the GEO community. She's been, over the last year, been leading or co-chairing the GEO program board. She's very knowledgeable of the GEO work plan, and also she's reached out over the years many times to me about GeoGlam. I know she's very supportive of what we do, and also she's very supportive of open data and open science. And this is good because it suggests that she's going to sustain the focus on developing the knowledge management, the Geo Knowledge Hub as we go forward. There's also some new working groups within GEO around, including climate and data. I'm well connected to these. They're currently just developing their work plans, but these work plans and priorities are very much consistent with the direction GeoGlam as a whole is going. Because of that, I see that it's going to be a great opportunity to provide some best practices and examples to them of what can be achieved, but also hopefully they'll be able to work with us and support us in our agenda as we move forward. In terms of outreach, there's been a lot of outreach. I've given many presentations, but I just wanted to focus on these two at the international level. One is the UNFCCC. Through CIOS and through GEO, we're well connected to the global stocktake now, as well as looking at opportunities to support at the national level, nationally determined contributions, very important pieces of climate action into the future. And in addition to that, national adaptation plans, or NAPs, are another area where we've been looking at developing strategies to support. And I've been working with Sarah from the GEO Secretariat, who is the climate expert, as well as Catherine Nakalembe, to discuss how we can develop a strategy. And this has great potential to allow us to scale up to the national level co-development work we've been doing. particularly with an initial focus in Africa. Even more recently, been talking to the World Economic Forum. This is very high-level discussions supporting ministerials, level discussions on unlocking humanitarian and resilience investment for the Sahel. I think we can support them in the de-risking area as well as providing information to support programs and policies for both that support both public and private initiatives. Things like our early warning and crop condition mapping, but also recent work we've been doing through NASA Harvest as well as ITC on smallholder insurance products are of great interest in de-risking, making the landscape safer for private sector to come in and invest. So this is going to be another great opportunity, I think, for us to scale up and increase our impact and work with a number of other agencies with similar focus and interests. Over the last year, there's been many new contributing projects launched. I'm not going to go into detail because there'll be presentations for all or most of these, but this is just a partial list. It's just to say that the support from the funding organizations around the GEOGLAM community remains strong. In fact, it's picking up, it's getting stronger. This is very positive. I think everybody sees GEOGLAM as a great success, and they want to support us and help us evolve into the future to even have a greater impact. In terms of GEOGLAM Secretariat funding, we have a proposal in with Canada for funding that would probably come in around the end of March. And this would be for between 60 and probably 100,000 Swiss francs, so it would certainly help. We also have a proposal with the United Kingdom for project funding, and this will help support our National Adaptation Plan strategy and the GEOGLAM portal on the Knowledge Hub. Based on this funding that's expected, the current GEOGLAM Secretariat Director, my position, term ends on April 30th of next year. Now, if no additional funding comes forward, I'll be leaving Geneva at that time. Nothing to worry about now, but in the new year, if nothing evolves in terms of funding, we need to start having discussions about how we evolve from a secretariat with somebody in place in Geneva to probably a more virtual approach on a secretariat. Leaving this with a positive note, though, German funding proposal is in process, and we're hopeful that that will come through, and that would provide multiple year funding and really would allow us to get our funding situation stabilized for now and into the future. We'll see how that goes. And I wanted to finish with an agenda overview for the second session, which will again take place on November 20th. The link to the Blue Jeans video conference is there. We'll be releasing discussion papers on in situ and the UNFCCC contributions on November 13th. These will be available for you to read prior to the meetings. Please do read them prior to the meetings. During the meetings, we'll have short live presentations to introduce the topic and also the outcomes we want to achieve or we're suggesting we want to move towards. But most of the time will be allowed for discussion about these ideas so we can hopefully vet them out and evolve them. As well, we're leaving a fair bit of time available for additional proposals to be brought forward from the floor. So think about this. If there's some ideas you want to bring forward to discuss with the community on moving forward on these things, please bring it forward at that time. And then, of course, we'll be wrapping up with the usual discussion around action items from the meeting. Also want to discuss creating a GEOGLAM webinar series and finish off with upcoming meetings and any other business that might come forward. That's it. I look forward to seeing you all over the next couple of weeks, and please enjoy the video presentations in the meeting.